Okay. Live. Hello. All right. How you guys doing? Just waiting for more to join here. All right, starting to fill up. This isn't going to be too long. Just want to kind of go over the next assignment coming up. Hopefully you guys have checked out that PowerPoint and that other document that I attached to a previous email. Okay, Victor, that's cool. Thanks for joining us. So I'm just answering people's when they join here. If you guys got questions, comments in the chat, please just type whatever your question or whatever it is, just so I know. I can just answer you directly. That way I don't have to type, because it's hard to type while I'm doing this. I'm not a good typer anyway. Let's just wait a couple more minutes for more people to join. But I thought you might enjoy this. Let's see. Okay. Friend did this portrait of me wearing the same hat about a year ago. He made my nose pretty red. He likes to do that. So this guy, his name is Peter Lupkin, the artist here, works in town. He works at a glass studio. He graduated quite a few years ago with a BFA in painting, but he took a lot of drawing classes with me. He's doing really well now. Really proud of him. I'll go ahead and hang this back up. Okay, so let's see how many we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hoping more people will be on here. Didn't think it was that hard to do. Had good luck with the previous one. So this is going to be the first part of a series on this assignment. Bear with me, because I thought that you could do, I could share my desktop with you while I did YouTube Live, but apparently they got rid of that feature for some reason. So that's kind of a bummer, because I was going to go over that PowerPoint a little bit. But what I'm going to do is, after tonight, in the next couple of days, I'm going to do another video. This time I will not be live. I will just load it and give you a link in the email that you can watch later, about the assignment coming up, which is the mass conception of the human head. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, because it's past time and I don't want to keep you too much longer. So if you looked at that document or in the PowerPoint, you will see it's a pretty step-by-step process. So we're going to be doing that 3-grid kind of approach with the straight-on view, the profile view, and the 3/4 view. The one visual aid I want to show you, I think that should help you guys with this, is to think about the head really as beginning with and kind of being formed by 2 egg-like masses, 2 egg-shaped masses. So this is something I got from Hobby Lobby last Easter, and I carved it up. And I think it works pretty well to help visualize how the head is basically formed by 2 egg-shaped masses. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll show you the actual skull. So you can really see. Yeah, I'm going to do WebEx, I think, next class. I just didn't know how many people were into that yet. It's a big class too, so I am going to be going to WebEx, guys. So look for that, but that'll be, I'll make an announcement about that, okay? So yeah, I'll email you about that, getting WebEx by Cisco. So good point. But anyhow, yeah, see, I didn't know that the YouTube couldn't do the desktop. Otherwise, I probably would have done WebEx tonight. My bad. But if you look here and you compare the cranium, which is the big mass which houses your brain, our brain, so that's why we're so smart. If you think that, I don't know, maybe we're not so smart. Dolphins are actually supposed to be more intelligent. Uh, but compare that cranium to the egg, and I think you can really see just how similar it is to the form. Uh, this project's also designed to give you a better sense of proportion about the head, and to realize that the features in the face are really just kind of a small part of the overall head. If you look at the head in profile, which I'm doing now, and this is the first step in your PowerPoint, you'll see that it's really about equally wide as it is tall in the profile. So take a look at that. And then when you look at it up front, of course, it's wider, it's taller than it is wide. We're going to be focusing on the profile, the straight on view, and then the 3/4, which of course is somewhere in between. Notice on my skull, I've drawn a midline, and you'll also notice on my egg, I did the same thing. Oops, here we go. So you're going to be doing this in your own drawings as well, drawing midlines over your forms where appropriate. All right, so let's get maybe a little bit more into the mass, this 2-egg mass thing again. I also got this fella here too to help you kind of think about more of the construction and the structure of the head, and not putting as much strength on the features, at least as you start. And plus, he's a good friend of mine, keeps me company. We're a little too close together, probably 6 feet apart. But I think he's okay. All right, so yeah, guys, keep sending out any comments that you have. Hopefully, you can hear me and see me all right. So getting back to our 2 egg-like masses. So I wanted to kind of think about not just the shape of the egg, but the roundness of the egg, the form of the egg. That's one reason why we just did this assignment with the ink wash of the eggs and the spears, is for you to think about not just the shape of the egg when you do this assignment, but also the form. The form's going to be coming in towards the end of the assignment. You're going to start off drafting with the lines, but really think about that roundness of the egg and not just the shape. That's really critical, because just like with the egg, the head has that same kind of roundness in the skull. So yeah, so what's going to happen is you're going to draw one egg, which is like your cranium egg at kind of a tilted angle. And then you're going to draw your second egg. This is for the profile view, kind of being intersected by that cranium egg. The two just kind of lock together. I wish I could make like a clicking noise, how these things kind of click together. And if you look at, let's go back to our skull again. If you look at the skull, I think you can see is, notice that that shape of the cranium goes behind like the cheekbone, and it kind of reappears in the eye socket. So that shape of the cranium does actually, whoops, it's hard to know which way. The shape of the cranium does actually intersect and kind of go behind the head, or what we call the facial part of the head. So these two elements do actually kind of interconnect and create this solid kind of egg-like mass that interlocks, if that makes sense. So the profile view is what we're going to be starting off with this assignment. And then you're going to go with the second view, which is the straight on view. And what's going to happen there, starting out, is your eggs now basically look, you have a hard time seeing that cranium egg from the straight on view, but it's still there. It hasn't disappeared. What's happening, in other words, is you're seeing this egg that should normally look, if you saw it from the profile, it look like this, but now it's turned towards you and it's coming at you. So what's happening is you're getting foreshortening. That egg is still an egg, but from this viewpoint, the cranium egg now looks like a circle. And if you look at the PowerPoint, you see I did this kind of dotted line thing there to represent that the cranium egg is this circle that disappears and reappears, kind of like in a mechanical drawing. You draw lines that go through one element to help people understand that these forms connect. One other thing I want to point out, it might be kind of hard to see in my model here. Let me get the skull back out. Is that the head from straight on, the widest point is not the face, not that facial element. The widest point is the cranium. Check that out. So that's that second egg, the cranium egg going behind. It creates the width to your head. Your head is widest if you, let me go ahead and take my hat off because I can use myself as a visual aid here. Fortunately, I don't have a lot of hair to get in the way. I need to actually cut it. But my head, and your head too, you'll find, I think, the widest point of it is basically kind of above your ears. It's not widest here, is it? If you don't believe me, check it out on yourself. So you want to think about the greatest point where it's widest and also where it's highest. Always compare the width versus the height in any view that you have of anything that you draw. Kind of looking at this guy, looking at the profile, mentioning the profile is about as wide as it is tall. And also looking at him, if you were to kind of take this fine looking fella here, if I was just to take the measurement from the chin to the brow ridge and just kind of extrapolate that and kind of take it up, it's actually just slightly more than half the height of the head. So the face is really only about slightly more than half the height of the head. You might not realize that until you actually take a hard look at it. The head also slopes back. He's getting higher towards the back. The highest point of the head is in the back, right around here. It's not at the front. So the head keeps rising as it goes back. A lot of people stop the head right here when they draw, and they put the hairline there, and everything gets flat. And what happens is you get these heads that get like chopped off, and basically those people would not have functioning brains and be able to live if that was the case. So check it out. The head has a lot more height to it than just where it stops at the forehead. You can see it very well in my head. It goes whoop, right here's the top of the forehead, but my head keeps going back and back, and look at the height. Kind of compare my facial part here. You can see it's just a little bit, slightly more than halfway. It's more, men have higher heads usually. Women's heads and features make more percentage of the total height of the head from chin to brow ridge, just kind of going forward. All right, so I thought maybe I would just show you guys one last thing. I'm going to see if I can actually show you my PowerPoint that's on another computer I have in my house. I'm really wired up now. I brought everything back from school, so hopefully you can see pretty well. That's good enough, I think. If I do it too straight on, it kind of gets a little too bright. You can't really see it. Let's see. Let me go back this way a little bit. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to go kind of step by step what's in the PowerPoint. Again, you guys have this on your own computers now, I hope. If not, you can download it at any time. But you can see what's going to happen is you're going to transition from those egg-like masses to basically rendering the skull, and you're going to be actually identifying anatomical landmarks, which is in the step-by-step handout I gave you, which is, you should have this guy too, which is basically going to be a lot of what the PowerPoint contains. So it lists the anatomical landmarks, the bones and the masses that you need to identify. That handout does, the PDF. And there's step 3. So you're going to kind of just flesh it out from eggs to skulls to adding features. Like I said, I'm going to do a second part of this where I get into the features and things like that. So here's a straight on view. And so I did mention the kind of dotted line that goes behind, that represents the idea of one egg going behind the other. And then you have the width of that second egg, the cranium egg, adding the total width of the head. If you miss that extra space, that extra width, your head's going to look kind of smushed and it's not going to look quite right. People might not know what's wrong with it, but they'll know something's wrong with it. And then we're looking really at a lot of the structure too. So that's why I showed you my 3D kind of model over there. A lot of in your manual models and methods, you'll find a lot of this stuff is in there. A lot of great references. So look at that while you're doing this project too. And there's the straight on view kind of fleshed out. Put in the neck, put in a sense of the shoulders. You could extend the drawing further down. The PowerPoint really gets into that a lot with examples further along. And then here's the 3/4 view. And this is the trickiest one because you're basically dealing with foreshortening in 2 directions. You get both egg masses are foreshortened. But one thing I want to point out is that midline right there, that contour of the midline. So you can see in the 3/4 view, that midline is not in the center, true center of the actual square, but along here. It gets compressed and kind of moved to the side. So the 3/4 view is quite literal. You're only seeing kind of 3/4 of the head from this view. One thing I want to point out is I don't have it in the PowerPoint. I might adjust it. if you can see this guy here, what I did is I kind of represented what I have in that egg model that it is. I drew kind of an actual kind of hole that really represents the true kind of center of that second cranium egg. Notice that the eggs are tilted. They're not straight up and down. I have these axis lines going through them for this project. Let me get my eggs back here to kind of show you a little bit more what I mean. So let's see, the lighting's pretty crappy. Okay, that's better. Turn this back for a second so I got better lighting here. So in the 3/4 view, you can see that you'll see that second egg making its way through. It actually, the very tip of the forehead, like right here, I kind of visualize as a spot where that second cranium part is kind of protruding and coming out. So that's kind of constructing that 3/4 view and draw those midlines. And what mentioning why it's trickier with the 3/4 view is because you're going to have a 2-point perspective. You have the front of the head, the face going one way, and then you have like the jawline kind of going another. You see that kind of strong angle there, and that happens in the cheekbones, from the front of the cheekbones to the side of the cheekbones, where this structure here called the zygomatic arch is. Really cool word, but you can kind of see there to there. One thing I think that will help you with this exercise, and I can do this as well with my skull. This is going to be weird. I'm going to flesh this out for a second. Notice that you connect the cheekbones together. Whenever you have two of anything, you want to connect them together on a similar axis. We've been talking about that all semester, but I want to get back to something that can help you, especially with the 3/4 view, help you kind of visualize that dynamic plane change that happens in the head. Is what if I were to take my skull? You notice I took my glasses off. There's a reason for that. And go like that. Now the glasses show you that dynamic plane change. You see from the handles of the glasses to the actual frames where the lenses are on, you have a 90-degree angle, don't you? So everyone has, glasses wouldn't fit if they didn't have this 90-degree angle. The same thing is happening in the heads that we're drawing. You should be able to visualize kind of putting a pair of glasses, on your drawing. Let me see if I can get it to go on this guy here. Oh yeah, check this out. This is cool. Kind of funny, but he looks really intelligent with glasses. So check that out. You can really see from the 3/4 view here. It doesn't fit quite right, but you can see you go front to side. It's really dramatic. The same thing happens in the chin to the jaw, and it happens from the cheekbone, from the front of the cheeks to the side of the cheeks. And if you don't have that big plane change in the 3/4 especially, and you can also see in this guy, you can really see how that it really accentuates what's actually happening in people, is that dramatic plane change from the side to the front. That's where you're going to end up having most likely having a core of shadow inside your head too. So yeah, this guy is a really good model for me. He doesn't move. He works cheap. But yeah, I thought that idea of the glasses is quite helpful. So I might, in PowerPoint, or the video I make coming up, I might add glasses to my model here, or to my drawings. So getting back to the PowerPoint, kind of the last stage of it. And I hope you guys can see this okay. It looks all right on my screen, so I'm assuming you can see it as well. Again, notice that midline. It also follows, you're going to start to see these bigger shapes inside of the head. It starts to break down with the skull into more kind of mechanical shapes, but the mouth being this round barrel-like shape. And then fleshing that out in the 3/4. So for the assignment, I want you to do I gave you two printouts, 11 by 17. I want you to do two versions of this. One of them you might want to try doing from an actual person, maybe yourself. Doing a self-portrait for this exercise is ambitious, and I kind of would like to see you try that. The problem is when you do a self-portrait, what do you do in the profile view? It's hard to do that. In the 3/4 view as well, you'd actually need two mirrors, a reflection of yourself in another mirror, to actually see your profile, and also your 3/4 will get distorted if you don't use 2 mirrors. So that's kind of the exercise. And I got some examples of this in the PowerPoint from other students. This is one where that model was drawn from life. Go ahead and add shoulders, clothing as well. And you can make this stuff up too as well. You're gonna just have some fun with this. One thing to notice is how the hair and the hat sits on top of these egg-like shapes and adds to the height of the head. Really some beautiful examples here. It goes back to the properties of light, kind of the assignment we just did. So some classic examples. You've seen this one before. So these are all references here that are in your manuals. Good to look at. And some examples of drawings by Philip Geiger. All right, guys, I think we're about done with the YouTube Live for today. I'll save this if you want to see it again. I do want to say that you guys got to get the assignment in by the end of class tonight. If you don't, at least send me an email explaining why. I know people have changing circumstances. I've talked to a couple of you about this already, but just let me know why and give me an idea when I can expect it. I just need to know that you guys are following along and doing the work, despite all that's going on. Like I said, I'm not going to be a tough case about this, as long as you communicate with me and then do actually get the work done at some point. All right, the other part of this assignment coming up is to do a research of structural drawings of the human head, human skull. Just send me a couple images. I want you to kind of go and look for information about this to help inform you as you go along. If anyone has any more questions, anybody, before I go, call it a Facebook, or I get Facebook Live mixed up with YouTube. All right, any questions? Give me a minute. If you do, and I don't get to them, just email, okay? All right, guys. So yeah, we're gonna try WebEx maybe next class. So download that app or log in and create a, you can do it online. Also, you don't need an app. You just need to give an email address and you can join it, and then we can all meet together on the same screen and communicate with each other. And I can show you my actual desktop as well, as Amaya mentioned. All right, so take care, guys. Again, I'll send out one more email asking people to send in their assignment number 4. And I'll be making another video soon, which I will link and you can watch. It's not going to be live. All right, guys, take care. I hope everyone's doing well. I miss you guys, miss being in class, but we're just going to do